Hello, everyone. Catchy1383 with Catchy Gaming. And I'm going to have to apologize. I probably sound a little bit more nasally than before or usual. I have a bit of a head cold. It's a bit of a nasty thing, but it's given me an excuse to play a little bit of the Donkey Kong Banaza DLC, which was announced on Friday with the Nintendo Direct. And I guess I'll put my 2 cents in there. Yes, there was a few DLCs that they announced, and I was a bit surprised that they announced this one so soon after the game was released like 2 months ago. And I guess the surprise part of the announcement was that it was available that day. I was like, what? It's beyond clear that it was in development for a very long time, but it feels kind of dirty just a little bit to have it released so soon after the game just released. I mean, yes, it's clearly planned, obviously, but when it's this close to the release date of the game, feels like it probably should have been part of the game. So let's take a look at the DLC. So first off, the first thing I went to look at was how much does this thing cost? And I was like, $20? Really? And unfortunately, Nintendo has a tendency not to put games on sale till several years after they've been out. And that's just a recent development for them. So in order to, I guess, get content for my channel / I wanted to actually play it because I enjoyed the game, I caved and bought it. So what exactly is Emerald Rush? I think first we need to go over that it includes one new location in the game, DK Island, which we saw in the trailer. And it's a kind of a scaled down version of the island, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it is slightly scaled up. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does have references to multiple other Donkey Kong games around the island. You kind of think it would be bigger, though, but oh well. What happens is they go to investigate Void and why he's on DK Island. Donkey Kong and Pauline go to DK Island to investigate Void and why he's on the island. After rebuilding his company, so to speak, he plans on using the emerald-colored vanadium, which I guess has more properties in common with emerald than the actual gold, to sell it to rich people by controlling the market. And he cons or convinces DK and Pauline to do it for him. So it starts out simple enough. You have lower difficulties with lower standards of how much vanadium you need to collect. And after you meet your quota, he increases the amount of vanadium you need to get for each round. And with higher difficulties, the more rounds you have, along with the multiplayer of having to earn or gather more vanadium. So the twist is it has some roguelike elements to it. Just a few, like the spawn locations of bananas and fossils are all the same. But how it works is that you gather certain bananas and they have power-ups. Now, they don't always have the same power-up, or even some of the same bananas in the same location won't have a power-up the next time you play around. And even in the middle of going through the whole entire thing, you could lose a power-up if you don't collect it fast enough by a certain point in time. And when you get a banana that has a skill in it, or a fossil, you get to choose a sort of perk. And the perks are random. They do a variety of things, like they increase the amount of emeralds you get from, let's say, defeating enemies while in DK's Kong Banaza form. Or increases the chance of you finding treasure so that you can dig through the caves or soil in order to get the emerald. So for the most part, yes, I'm actually enjoying the game and having a little bit of fun with it, but I'm kind of quickly getting bored with it for various reasons. One, it's highly repetitive. You can only gather emerald vanadium so many times in the same location before it just becomes a slog. And part of that is the random chance of getting perks that are actually worth a damn, and they keep adding more and more perks, making it even harder and harder to do harder difficulties, because honestly, some of the beginning level perks are actually some of the better perks. And the ones they add later kind of just really suck. So you're increasing your pool of perks you can get with every advancement in terms of level, and you keep watering down the good perks that would easily make it so that you could do the harder difficulties to the point where you actually can't do the harder difficulties. I mean, I know that's a bit of a repetition there, but I want to emphasize that. On top of that, some of the layers, because they add Emerald Vanadium runs to each of the layers. And the problem with that is these layers were designed around, I guess, the main story, but they just use the same location of gold vanadium to put the emerald vanadium, and there's no real optimal path. And combined with the random nature of the perks, it actually makes it really hard to do some of these vanadium runs on some of the different layers as a result. With the only real island that was probably designed around this whole entire concept being DK Island, which is the only one where I've done like level 5 difficulty. And I'm stuck at like, I think I did level 4 and then unlocked level 5. I'm stuck at level 5 because I have so many perk gems that I get a bunch of useless perks that I can't really use to increase the amount of emerald vanadium I get. So I can't advance to a harder difficulty, even though it would be really, really easy if I could just control it. They do give you an option to lock them later on in the game with vanadium emerald chips, but it's not permanent. It's temporary for that run that you're doing at that point in time. I wish there's just a way to control what perks you did and didn't see while trying to gather vanadium outside of hoping that you have enough emerald vanadium chips to lock out the abilities that you don't want. Sorry, perks, not abilities. And as much as I hate to say it, they probably need to redesign spawn locations of the emerald vanadium on the different layers instead of just copying and pasting the location of the gold vanadium and turning it into emerald. And lastly, I didn't go over this, but you have goals that Void gives you, and he will give you emerald vanadium as a reward, as well as unlocking another perk. On higher difficulties, these become essential in order to get through that difficulty. And again, if you get really unlucky with the perks, you are screwed on that run. You will not make it through, and thus you reduce your output. You won't get as many regular vanadium chips, as well as fewer points, so you go through this whole entire thing. Here, let me just show you what I mean. So in terms of the Void story, it stops about where I made it there. But then they continue on, and it's just a grind at this point. And with the way the game is designed, it's just gonna take forever. And like I said, I'm kind of bored with it at this point, with the levels not being optimally designed for actually collecting the vanadium in the short amount of time that they give you per round in each run. The randomness of the perks, the quality of the perks, which most of them are just absolute utter garbage. Like, it's fun in short bursts, but this is something I'm going to have to, like, I don't know, grind out over the course of weeks or even months. Or I could just wait until somebody who actually cares maybe optimizes routes through the various other layers, because honestly, I don't want to do that. I kind of did that with the DK Island. But then again, even if you do have it optimized, you run into the issue of the randomness of the perks, which I know I keep repeating. But it is the thing that holds progressing through this game in a reasonable manner back, along with just absolutely having a ton of things that you have to go through. But for $20, honestly, not really. It's a little pricey for just adding emerald colored vanadium that you have to collect in a short amount of time. I mean, I still love the game. It's my favorite Switch 2 game at this point in time. And like I said, I enjoyed it at first. Maybe if it was shorter and a little bit cheaper, I would say yes, this would be a buy. But this is definitely a slog and a grind to get through, with some questionable design choices on Nintendo's part. Anyways, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a good one.